Hey everyone, welcome to the Everyday Human Podcast. My name is Easton Taverna. Each day I'll share a reflection written by me and inspired by literature, poetry, music, movies, video games, and more. And after that, I'll share a prompt for you to write your own reflection. Together, we'll explore what it means to be human. Every month, we'll walk a new path, taking a look at life, death, the universe, and everything in between. Thanks for coming along. I'm glad you're here. For more, visit eastontaverna.com or join me on Instagram at _everydayhuman. Hey everyone, it's June 6th. Today's reflection is titled Hic Sunt Dracones, but they're not what you think. And that Hic Sunt Dracones is Latin for here be dragons. And it was used by, ancient or medieval map makers, cartographers, to mark down uncharted or dangerous places or territories, to indicate that there may be horrible, terrible, unknown threats lurking in that area, region, or in the seas. And this reflection was inspired by Rainer Maria Rilke in the book Letters to a Young Poet, which we saw earlier in The Everyday Human. Okay, and the quote goes like this. How should we be able to forget those ancient myths that are at the beginning of all peoples? The myths about dragons that at the last moment turn into princesses. Perhaps all the dragons of our lives are princesses who are only waiting to see us once beautiful and brave. Perhaps everything terrible is, in its deepest being, something helpless that wants help from us. So you must not be frightened if a sadness rises up before you, larger than any you have ever seen. If a restiveness, like light and cloud shadows, passes over your hands and over all you do. You must think that something is happening with you, that life has not forgotten you, that it holds you in its hand. It will not let you fall. Why do you want to shut out of your life any uneasiness, any miseries, or any depressions? For after all, you do not know what work these conditions are doing inside you. So that's a quote from a fairly long letter from Rilke to Franz Xaver Kappes. And I didn't include the whole thing when I was writing this last year, when I selected this quote. But it does go on to say this, which means a lot to me right now. Why do you want to persecute yourself with the question, whence has come all that and whither is it going? Seeing that you know that you are in a state of transition, and there is nothing you could desire more than to transform yourself. If something in your present life is sickly, remember that sickness is the means by which an organism frees itself of foreign elements. Then one must just help it to be sick, to have its sickness in its entirety, and to let it come right out, for that is its means of progress. So much is happening in you now, dear Herr Kappes, that you must be patient like a sick man, and confident like a convalescent. For perhaps you are both these two, and you are still more. You are also the doctor, who must watch over himself. But in every sickness, there are many days when the doctor can do nothing but wait. And that is, above all, what you must do now, insofar as you are your own doctor. So I've mentioned before that when I sat down to write this book, all of these, at this point, over 365 reflections, coming from poetry and literature and video games and all kinds of things, that I was kind of going through a bit of a tough time, figuring out, where I was in life, where I was going, what was going on in the world, how to, be a good father, a good husband, be the best human I could in a tumultuous and ever-changing landscape around me. And you can see that coming through in some of the reflections. And obviously, many of the people that I quote have lived through similar times and felt similar things because we are all human and our experience is unique and it is not unique, and that we all pretty much go through the same things and we all feel the same things since the beginning. So it was an everyday journal for me. It was cathartic, it was meditative, and it helped me process, what was going on, where I was coming from in the past, and, where potentially the future was going. Or at the very least, because we can't control that, how I would prepare myself, what tools I would equip myself with for dealing with whatever would happen in the future. And so here we are now in the future, June 6th, a year later from when I wrote this one. And you've heard me mention in the past couple of episodes, I've stopped doing my Instagram. I've stopped doing the longer intros for the people who have inspired the reflections because I'm short on time. The reason for that is that my wife was just diagnosed with cancer. We are facing probably the biggest dragon of our life together right now. And it is terrifying, to say the least. That's an understatement. It is shocking. It is news that no one ever wants to hear. It's an advanced melanoma, and we're going through the tests. She's already had a surgery. She is brave and strong, and I believe she can beat this thing. But I would be lying if I said I didn't want to scream out at the universe, or rage, or get on the floor and cry, because I do want to do those things, and I have. But revisiting these, especially now in the month of June, the month of courage, seems an odd coincidence that this is the month that's happening, because this is when we need courage the most. And hearing, those words from Rilke, written back in the early 1900s, although he's obviously being metaphorical here in this passage, it helps. These kinds of things help. They helped me as a kid get through very hard times, reading literature and, playing those video games and listening to music. And they still do. And I guess I just want to say that, I'm trying to remind myself now, like Rilke is saying here, to not forget that we never know what is going to happen, and that we don't know what is going on inside of us through these trials and tribulations and challenges and horrible things that life throws at us. And to always remember that we must be patient, and that it's not possible, and nor should we probably want to shut out any uneasiness or miseries or depressions from our life, because we don't know the end game. And we only have very limited control over the things that happen to us. And also to not take for granted anything that you have, the people in your life, the love that you have. Don't sweat the small stuff, really. Everything could change in a day. Hug your partner, your kids, your friends. Tell them you love them. More than that, show them you love them. Go outside, spend time with nature, and live your life in the good times and in the bad. I didn't intend really to go through that and say that just now, but it just kind of came out. I think as I was reading this quote from Rilke, it got me thinking about it. And as I said, this was my everyday journal when I was writing it, and it still kind of is, revisiting it and thinking about these reflections and quotes again as I record them. And really writing things down or just speaking what is going on, what you're feeling, really does help. So I encourage you, that is why I encourage you to write your thoughts down after these reflections. So I will keep you updated as we go. And I will ask for help. We will have a GoFundMe eventually to help with the costs of this. And I guess just thanks for listening to that. Okay, and on to the reflection from that Rainer Maria Rilke quote. Let's talk about dragons again, but this time in a bit of a different light. The dragons of June 4th are obstacles in your way, challenges you must face and overcome. And only by moving forward, looking them dead in the eye, and declaring that you are unafraid, can you do this. And it is good to drum up your courage in order to face these challenges. But, and here's where we'll do the very human thing of arguing with ourselves, what if those dragons are not there to be slain? What if they are waiting for us to save them? Or perhaps, what if their purpose is to transform us, to give us the opportunity to steal our resolve, to have courage, where, had we gone untested, that seed of courage never would have bloomed? Rather than looking at those terrible things that happen to us as enemies, instead look at them with compassion. Remember to love your fate. Listen to those internal or external conflicts plaguing you. Try to understand what created them in the first place, where they came from, and what they need. You may be surprised to learn that in some cases, it was you who gave them life in the first place. So, to reiterate, do not flee from the discomfort in your life, the challenges and terrible things. Stand up to them, yes. Sometimes you will need your sword and shield, no doubt. However, other times, your best path forward will be to listen to the sorrow, fear, or conflict. Hear what they have to say. If you listen to truly understand them with honesty and patience, they or you may transform into something beautiful. Remember, you never know what these conditions are doing inside you. And there ends today's reflection. So now in your journal or napkin pile, or while you are looking out the window, I started recording this one today at around 5 a.m. And then we had to leave. We had to go to the hospital for some tests. We had to do a lot of other things. Still be parents, still be friends, still be people. And now it's about 9 o'clock at night, and the sun is going down, and it's a beautiful sky out there, outside my window. What's it like where you are, and when you are? Well, here's your reflection question. Am I reflecting on the root causes of my pain and sorrow? Am I listening to what they need? And am I giving room for these conditions to do work inside me? That is it for today, June 6th. Thank you for listening and joining me, as always. I'll be back tomorrow, June 7th, with another reflection. Have a good one, and take care.